let's get into all of that. I'm going to start with mine. I'm going to start with Immaculate. I know, Jose, you haven't had a chance to see this one yet. This is directed by Michael Mohan, who directed another film that I thoroughly enjoyed entitled The Voyeurs. Sydney Sweeney starred in The Voyeurs and also stars in this one. I really liked Michael Mohan's work on The Voyeurs, and I was looking forward to see what he could do with the horror picture. Sydney Sweeney plays Sister Cecilia, who goes into the convents and is basically looking to become a nun, but not in the traditional sense. In other words, there's a little bit more pressure put on her to be a nun, pretty much set up close to the beginning of the film. It's a little bit of a different take on what it's like to be a nun. There's another film starring the late great Audrey Hepburn called A Nun's Story that really scares you away from being a nun, probably in a more realistic sense. This one, obviously taking some liberties and not like being accurate like A Nun's Story would be. You know, this one's given like just a horrific take. I'm not going to give any spoilers or anything like that, so don't worry for those of you who haven't seen it. But what I do want to talk about is the making of this project and kind of how it all came together, which I find to be very impressive, because Sydney Sweeney had auditioned for this role when she was 16, really got attached to the script, and now she's in her 20s, right, and wanting to revisit it, and brought this to Michael Mohan as a producer because she just couldn't forget about the script and had a real passion for it and wanted to play this role. And when you watch this film, it really does show why, because Sydney Sweeney is perfect for the role. I mean, as Sister Cecilia, she destroys. I mean, this is probably her career best performance, and I say that as a fan of Euphoria, which I've seen the incredible things she's done in that show. This is next level for her, and I was so impressed by the amount of passion and work she put into the performance of this. This movie's done on a pretty modest budget, and you could tell, but at the same time, like, it's got incredible set design and incredible cinematography. It's shot incredibly well. Every actor that steps on in terms of the side characters and things, they all really make this work and sell this as being realistic, even though, again, it's not a realistic take on what it's like to be a nun, you know, but they make it feel authentic and real. It's really great that they retextualize the story to be a bit more of a period piece, I guess you could say, from what my understanding was. The original script was a little bit more modern, and this one is, you know, takes place way back, which I thought it just added so much nuance to the visuals of this film, and just, you know, how brilliantly directed this was. Again, it's got some really nice little tension building moments that lead up to I don't want to say jump scares per se, but there's, you know, they do have like nice little like areas of scares, I guess, where you kind of can audibly gasp once in a while, and I thought that was really good of it as a horror picture to actually put some real scares into it. My biggest issue was mainly the first half, where it kind of dives into a lot of the gimmicky jump scares. A lot of the tropes that you've seen in films before have to do with, like, there's this, you know, the bird hitting the window. That, you got one of those here. Those types of jump scares I really would rather get away from, but for the most part, this film is all script, and that's what I like about it. The jump scares are there, the gimmicky ones and the not so gimmicky ones are both in the film, but at the same time, the script kind of overpowers it in a big way and really makes it something onto itself, and the storytelling of it is what overpowers the jump scares or the things I don't like, I suppose, too. And I think that it's worth watching for the narrative and the performances, again, which are all great. There's not a flaw amongst the performances in this film. I thought everybody just did a stellar job who worked on it, even though Sydney Sweeney you were spending 85% of the time with. Now, I love the tone of this horror film. It's kind of a la Rosemary's Baby a little bit in the tone of it, even though the story's not a mimic of that by any means. But the tone of it goes back to real, true horror. And I think what I found to be so refreshing about this film is that it's a horror film with balls. You know what I mean? Like, it has real balls on it, and we don't see a lot of them anymore. Like, I think Evil Dead Rise was a pretty good one, but to reference, but like all the Evil Deads always kind of have some balls on them and go that extra mile. This one to me was kind of like that, where it just went that extra mile to really hone in, like, not the scariness of it, but sort of the, I don't know how to explain it, the balls to the wall horror of it. It's very, very good. It's a very bloody, very gory film as well. There are some really disturbing scenes. I actually walked into this thinking I was getting a PG-13. I don't know why, but it's a hard R, like kills that are in there per se. It's not a slasher, so don't take me the wrong way when I say that, but there's a lot of disturbing imagery in the film and a lot of things that will make you audibly yell and gasp and like, whoa. And I can't wait till like this has a home release so we could see all the reactions come out of people that haven't seen it. I think that'll be a lot of fun. It's just really, it's a creepy movie. It's not like incredibly scary or anything like that, but it's got a little bit of a creep factor to it, just an eerie tone throughout. The score is remarkable, by the way. And Sydney Sweeney's performance again, she commits to this. It's outstanding. And I was just like, what a really cool, unique story that we haven't seen before in horror. We've seen similar things-ish, but not really. I mean, this is really its own standalone thing, and I do see why she had the passion to adapt this and want to be a part of it and want to play this role. It's really incredible, and I think that the way it ends, it may offer a sequel. If we do get a sequel, I think we can for this one. This is one of those few times where I'll say, I think I would like a continuation of this, and if we do, I just hope that they keep Michael Mohan on to direct, because his directing was so stellar and he just understood what the story needed at every point. And I mean, I walked out of this one like, wow, this is like one of my favorite movies this year. This is a really, really stellar horror flick, and I didn't think it was going to be much. I'll be honest. It really, really stunned me and just floored me, and I was very, very happy with it. This is one of those I could see being an honorable mention for myself by the end of the year, because I just, again, it's such a fun one, man. It really is. It's so fun and just but creepy too at the same time, and it keeps a really nice balance of the scares and the creep. I'm gonna give this one a must watch. That's it. Just go see it. It's so phenomenal. I just really had a great time with it. So those are my thoughts on Immaculate.